Hi, welcome to the SEO Science Show. My name is Josh Bachynski and I'll be your host for today. The SEO Science Show is the show that uses SEO experiments to formulate a grand unified theory of ranking and to come back after doing the grand unified theory and come back and find the ranking principles in the web pages. And I try to give as much of that information out to you guys on the show and try to preach the gospel of the proper way to do SEO based on science. As you can see, it's still Mary SEOmas going on here. So if you have any questions you want to ask, if you want to get onto the show, let me know. You can get on here on YouTube. You should see on the top right-hand side questions you can ask. Chat box you can ask questions in. By all means, ask questions there. I guess I should have opened that up, before starting this. Here we go. Okay, so I have it open. So now I can see your questions. So if you have any questions, you can ask them at the top right-hand side on YouTube. And so today I want to go through a lot of stuff. I want to go through, based on the scientific experiments that we've been doing in the last couple of years, what not to do for 2020. So today I'm going to focus on what not to do for 2020, and I hope I have some eye-opening kind of revelations come on there for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Kombucha. Because we said tea's so good, let's ferment it and see if it tastes any better. And add a little bit of sugar, not much. Okay, so what not to do in SEO. And if you have any SEO questions at all, go and ask them on the top right-hand side. If you want me to take a look at your site and give you some suggestions and take a look over as to what's going on, I could do that. Please put your URL in the chat on the right-hand side. And if you have any SEO questions at all, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. And maybe you too can join our science group and see what our experiments are and find out how to really rank. And don't believe me, don't take my word for it. Look at the proof. Go to bit.ly/SEO Proof. That's bit.ly/SEO Proof, PROOF. And there you can see the results of our scientific group. And you'll see that, again, constantly, every week, every month, we're posting wins there of how we're killing it. And I'm not bragging. I'm trying to show you that that's because, one, you should be asking for this kind of evidence from any kind of group you're looking at and talking to. But also, two, science works. Science works, guys. Newsflash. That's the reason why medicine and the military and everybody in the world uses it, is because it works. So if you're doing it right, if you know how to do it, that's a bit of what I have to talk about today. So go ahead and check that out if you want. Okay, so let's get to the content here. And I'll go to OBS here and see if one day I can try and figure out how to use it. There we go. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this stuff here, and I can even make it bigger so you can see it. So the first thing I want to talk about what's new in SEO for 2020, and this is, I think, something that hardly anybody understands. No one really understands this. I don't really hear anybody else talking about this seriously, and this is really important, is that AI rankings, we're based now on artificial intelligence rankings. It's machine learning rankings, and it's not just one machine learning algorithm. It's a multiple of at least 3 or 4 I've detected of machine learning algorithms talking with each other, comparing data, sending the information back and forth to each other. And what does that mean? Well, that means that now that the rankings in every niche are going to be different. Every niche is going to have different algorithms for the niche. If you're in local, if you're in global, if you're in mattress toppers, or you're in, whatever it is, you're in Bitcoin, you're in herbal pills, you're in finance. The ranking factors for every niche are going to be different, and they can be even different per exact match query, per niche, in the sense of the SERP of just what you're trying to rank for. And so this means a number of atom bomb things like this. This should be exploding your mind right now. The consequences of what this means. This means a number of things that I don't know that a lot of people kind of realize. Like, for one, there's a lot of stuff in here of what you cannot do, which I'm going to get to because of the AI rankings. But just understand that there's a number of machine learning algorithms, RankBrain, BERT, Hummingbird, and a couple other ones that talk back and forth to each other And it has less to do with BERT really and more to do with RankBrain and Hummingbird and a couple other ones that are underlying the scenes and talking back and forth with each other. Panda. Penguin is dead. Penguin is long dead. Anyone who's still talking about Penguin doesn't know what they're talking about. Penguin is long dead. Google announced it's dead. I know it's dead. I've tested for it. It's not there anymore. At least I can't detect it. I don't see it in any way, shape, or form. Anyone who's still talking about it, I think, is just a guessio. So make sure, if anyone's still talking about Penguin, make sure not to listen to them because they really don't know what they're talking about. And it's really important to make sure you're listening to the right advice for 2020. Otherwise, you are definitely going to get hit. I've said that SEO is 80% dead, and that's really what this means. Really what this means is the AI ranking means that SEO is at least 80% dead. One of those artificial intelligences in there is sadly an anti-SEO algorithm based on a particular kind of aspect of SEO that everyone knows and has done. And sadly, that means SEO is dead at that point. They've taken a number of slots and they've done something to those slots that you're going to get on the front page. It depends. Some search results pages have 9 results, some have 7, some have 10. If you click something, maybe you'll get 100. But there's a certain percentage of those ones that are gone, and it's usually around 8, so it's around 80% on a 10-page SERP. That's why I say 80%. That they're doing something to, that they're reserving for something special, and if you haven't done that special thing or you don't understand that special thing, if you haven't prepared for it, you're not going to rank, sadly. So that's just it's going to be dumb blind luck. If you find anyone out there who's ranking and they're not, I don't use any scientific tactics. That's just dumb blind luck that they're ranking. They're either in such a niche that they're in a niche that it's so uncompetitive that anyone could rank, so it doesn't really matter, it doesn't count. Or they have like a white hat site that, spends $1 million a year on like radio advertisements or TV ads. And so that bleeds over into Google. And so they're going to rank no matter what. And they're far and above the competition. So they're going to rank no matter what. And they think they know how to do SEO. They know how to not arbitrarily kill things. And sadly, that's not a lot of them. I get a lot of people emailing me who are in that kind of a niche, a white hat niche, where they should be dominating, but their SEOs are idiots and have killed them, even though they should have been ranking. It should have been easy for them. So that can happen too, guys. So SEO really, we're in the SEO apocalypse. We really are in the end days. Friends are turning on friends, sadly. I just had a friend turn on me today, sadly. They're stealing information back and forth, and things are getting nasty out there. So if that's not the kind of industry you want to be in, you might want to think of something else. I look at Upwork, and I think there's a great opportunity for people to make money on Upwork. If you know web design, if you know web development, if you're writing, you can't make a lot of money, but you can get some employment there at the very least. Accounting, anything that businesses use or can outsource, accounting, especially if you know Excel and you know math, that could be a good opportunity for you there too. So I'm trying to think of other ways people can make money online. I have to admit, this is not the bright new future of SEO. SEO still has a future if you're with a science-based group and you're using science-based methods. But, you have to be with NASA to get to the moon. These guys over here trying to send smoke signals to the aliens, they're not going to rank. It's just not going to work. They're just there to take your money. They just lie. People lie. Everyone you see flapping their gums on YouTube, myself included, you should assume is lying. So the only thing you should be listening to me is go to bit.ly/SEO Proof and see how I'm not lying there, how I'm not photoshopping. I dare you to take those images and put them in. You could just search how do you tell the difference between photoshopped images on Google, and there's tools online that can kind of analyze the image and tell whether they've been photoshopped. I dare you to take all my images and see which ones have been photoshopped. The only time I've ever done any editing is to remove a name or remove a query or something like that. Any of the important information, the line graph or whatever, I'm not in there drawing a line to make it look like it goes up. The line really did go up. So that's what you should be looking at. You should be looking at the evidence. You should be demanding their evidence. Show me your evidence. You shouldn't be part of a group that doesn't have evidence, and you should definitely be looking at the evidence that they present critically, or you are never going to succeed in SEO. You might as well quit now. I'm trying to save you some money. I'm on your side. I'm trying to help you. Whether it's not what you want to hear me say, I'm giving you some tough love, and I'm telling you, if you're not looking at the evidence, what you need to do, or with a group that that's important and they're doing that kind of a thing, what you need to do is you need to get with that kind of a group, or check the evidence yourself, do the testing yourself. But you'll see what I mean when I say testing. You need to do you need to do an entire scientific process. Just testing here or there is not going to be enough. I'll get to that in a second. But if you don't do that, again, SEO is 80% dead. It's the SEO apocalypse. The easy pickings are long gone. The medium pickings are long gone. The hard pickings are long gone. Now we're into difficult, very, very difficult. And so that's just the way it is. It's going to continue. It's not going to get any better, sadly. So for those of you who are not scared away and are still sticking around, let me get to you what you should not do in 2020. This will kill you for 2020. These are the 2020 myths that kill. Bum, bum, bum. I'm not sharing my screen. That's why you can't see it. Okay, so here we go. So here, the 2020 myths that kill you. This is definitely not what you want to do. Let me check quick if there's any questions. Ron's here. What up, Josh? How you doing? Jesper's here. He says the 4 horsemen of the SEO apocalypse are coming. Yes, I'm afraid so, Jesper. It's pretty bad, and you were a student. I think you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Dan the Man says, how you doing, Josh? I'm doing great, Dan. Thanks very much. DD says, do Google reviews impact your organic rating yet? Yes, they do. Google reviews do impact your rankings. So be careful of those. I wouldn't fix those on a round 1 update, but I definitely look at those at a round 2. Dan the Man says, yeah, one of several factors, 700 plus. We don't really know how many factors there really are, but it stands to reason. I know it affects your local SEO. And if you have it related to a page, it very well could affect your page SEO. That I haven't specifically tested, but it stands to reason. Renee says, is the SEO proof you have still applicable after the anti-SEO update, November 8th core update? Yes, I'm the one who called it the anti-SEO update. That's where that comes from. No one else is calling it an anti-SEO update. I'm the one calling it an anti-SEO update. So yes, we are completely up to date in terms of all the algorithms, and there's multiple anti-SEO algorithms. There's not just one. I'm afraid there's a whole bunch of them. So yeah, I'm definitely up to date on that. And this is the only group you're going to get it in. I know people that no, it sounds like. Yeah, thanks, Dan. I'll get to that in a second. My list is here. I know it sounds self-serving when I say that, but it really is the truth. I'm sorry. If there was any other SEO science groups out there that I trusted, that I thought were doing it good enough, I'd tell you. All the ones that I know about are black hat. They don't trust anybody. They don't teach anybody. They live on the fringes. And I used to know like 10 of those guys. I know like maybe 2 of those guys now. So even those guys are starting to disappear. So, we really are in the end times for SEO. And that's just the way it is. Does it mean you can't compete in here? No, it means when people leave, things open up. But just think of it this way. You're playing chess with some of the smartest programmers in the world who are going out of their way to try and stop you from reverse engineering their algorithms. So you got to be pretty good to be able to play chess with those guys. So I want you to have a realistic idea of what to expect and a realistic idea of who you're competing with. Okay. All right. So here's what I want to talk about here. So what not to do in 2020, the SEO myths that kill. So the first one I want to talk about is silos. Silos was all the rage for the last, 7 years, 8 years. And there's a bunch of different ways of talking about it and a bunch of different ways of mentioning it. So what do I mean when I mean silos? Some people call it child pages. Some people call it, all different kinds of things. Let me be clear what I mean when I say silos. So when I say a silo, here's an index page. Here's ranking pages. This is the index page. These are ranking pages. These are money pages that you're trying to rank. What a silo is usually is either on the site or not on the site. And, and then they call it a virtual silo. They're all virtual. I mean, the names are kind of silly in my opinion, but it's making a bunch of pages on a certain topic that all link up to this page. They make a bunch of these pages here, and they might link together like that, like this. There's all kinds of scams and schemes of, oh yeah, do this, it'll increase your ranking. Like buying, like tiger penis will help you with erectile dysfunction or something. It's all old wives' tales. It's all false, phony bullshit that they have no proof for whatsoever. All these kinds of things here are silos. Any kinds of sub pages or child pages you're trying to put on ranking pages to prop up the ranking pages, these are all what I'm calling silos. They can be on the site. They can be off the site. This could be, you know, links from another site, like one domain kind of thing that all link together and link up here somehow. There's all different kinds of ways of doing silos. Silos are complete bullshit. They do not help you rank at all. It doesn't mean you can't rank when you're using them. You can. So don't come back to me and say, well, Josh, I have silos and I rank just fine. That doesn't disprove what I'm saying here. You need to do the scientific testing to see in what conditions this will help you and what conditions this won't help you. And the testing that I've done shows that this is not the optimal tactics you want to do. You can rank in spite of the silos. You might be able to get this page to rank in spite of the silos that you have, you know, you're cannibalizing the content from this page onto these pages. But if you haven't done this exactly right, you can derank this page and rank this page instead, or just derank all the pages. And if you've done this exactly right, this page is not going to get a boost. This page does not boost it in any way, shape, or form by doing this part exactly right. There's other ways to boost this page that have something to do kind of like this, but not this. Not doing it in this way. In this way, is the way that will hurt you. This is the way that Google's looking for. This is the way that Google knows all about. This is the way that Google's trying to demote. And just because this is the way that Google's trying to get rid of things, and it's better or worse depending how you do these links back and forth, and you link here and link back here. Depending on how you do all that, it gets better or worse, but it's still all suboptimal. These are all suboptimal tactics. You do not want suboptimal tactics. You want the optimal tactics. It's SEO. You're trying to do SEO optimization. You're trying to do the absolute best tactics to try to get ranking. If this is a page you want to rank, you're trying to do the moves that are going to rank that the most percentage-wise, statistically, are based on our single variable experiments that gave us a grand unified theory of ranking. If your single variable experiments have not given you a confirmed, tested, verified, grand unified theory of ranking, well, then your single variable experiments are not worth anything at that point. So just doing testing alone is not does a science group make. You need to do single variable experiments that allow you to infer a grand unified theory. Then you need to take the grand unified theory and apply it to the field and see if it helps in the field. You see if you see it in the field, see if it helps in the field, see if the field contradicts your grand unified theory of ranking. And if it does, then you need to go back to single variable experiments, try that again, go back here, go back up to here, and keep repeating that process until you have the grand unified theory of ranking. And we do, more or less. Google's changing the algorithms every month, and Google adds new ones every month or every couple months. But we do have the grand unified theory of ranking. You just look at bit.ly/SEO proof if you don't believe us. Those are our field results. So when it comes to silos, when we applied this process to silos, we found out everything that silos are doing good that they do, and we found out more bad that they do than they do good. And so that's why I say, you know, you're not even in the ballpark. You're not even in the right mind frame. You're not even in the right mindset if you're doing these tactics of yesteryear that other people are still selling for ludicrous amounts of money and ripping people off. You like I said, there's certain things about this that can be good, but there's more things about this that can be bad. But not doing it anywhere like this. This is all, Google's found all this. They've gotten rid of all this. This is all crap, garbage that you don't want on your site. Okay, so that's the first one. Dan says, I know Google wants to own every result. You're right, they do. They do want to own every result. The next SEO myth that can kill you in 2020 is PBNs. PBN stands for private blog networks. These have been, sadly, things people have done for 15 years at least, making your own microsites or mini sites or a private blog network. This is definitely not what it is you want to do. This is not the kind of thing you want to have going on here. PBNs is not the best way to do linking in general, and it can definitely nail you to do them in the short term. Can you rank with PBNs? Sure, if you do them right. But if you know how to do linking right, you know that PBNs aren't the greatest links and not the links you should be doing anyway. So does that make sense to you? So again, when it comes to PBNs, let me just sketch what that is. So that was silos. PBNs are mostly different. So let's say this is your site. And then there's other sites. Here's linking 101. There's other sites. And they link with a hypertext link, or maybe even other kinds of links. What other kind of links are there? And this, you own this. This is a site you own. You've made all the content. You've made a link from this page to this page, trying to make this page rank higher. Now, this is just linking. That's fine. Yes, it's still a signal, but it's a very, very weak one. If you want to do linking, linking is not, PBNs are not the best way to do it. This is not optimal. Can you do PBNs? Sure. Can you rank in spite of doing PBNs? Yes. But you've wasted money. You've wasted time. You've increased your risk. You have not done it optimally. You might as well have done a bunch of other tactics. You wasted your time and money and increased the risk that this particular site is going to get hit with numerous kinds of penalties, or just not rank as well as it could. It was not going to be able to compete when the link juice you're competing against is much more powerful. Can you imagine the link juice you need to compete against in some of these niches? Doing PBNs is not scalable. It's not the way to do it. And there are many ways you can tank yourself. Just think right now about your rankings and think how well you're doing and think what's going up and what's going down. And just start thinking of all the things you could have done wrong, including maybe some PBNs. Now, does that mean you should go disavowing links? No. Never, ever disavow links. I've tested this every which way from Sunday. It does not help you in any way, shape, or form. It is just helping Google with their machine learning. It is not helping you in any way. The only time you might consider this is maybe after a manual action. But only, and you will know if you have a manual action, it'll be in your Google Search Console. But only if you cannot, and there's no way you could ever delete those links, and Google doesn't give a shit. And at the end of the day, you need to make them believe that you'll never do this again anyway. That is, if Google is even giving out manual penalties anymore. I haven't seen one for over a year. And I've done thousands and thousands of links. So this is all the wrong way to think about linking. And this segues me into the thing is focusing on links, period. Not only is it not the best thing to do to focus, to do PBNs for linking, but to focus on links anyway is the wrong thing to do. This is not the main ranking factor. Links are not the main ranking factor. Links are maybe 10% of the algorithm at best. At best. Now, some of you out there who are scoffing, you just don't know what you're talking about. You're looking at the field results and you think you can infer from the field results to what the ranking algorithms are. You can't. That's like looking at the sky and knowing with certainty that it's going to rain tomorrow. You don't know that. You don't know that. You need to look at the science of climatology to tell you with a better rate of success whether it's going to rain tomorrow or not, based on looking at the sky. That's like using two sticks in your hands that twist around to tell you if there's water underneath you or not. That just doesn't work that way. You need to use scientific principles. And again, if your retort to that is, and I'm telling you all this because I'm trying to help people. If your retort to that is, well, Josh, I rank just fine. I do PBNs all the time. Again, as I said, that does not disprove that this is not the optimal way to do it. It's not the optimal way in money or in time or in risk. So you managed to pull it off? Great, good for you. That was a fluke, a complete and utter fluke. That's like saying, okay, I can take capoeira, and if a capoeira guy just managed to knock out Conor McGregor by accident, that therefore capoeira is the best martial art on the planet. That's not, you cannot infer that. You can't say, you don't have to take any kicking or punching or grappling. All you can do is just do capoeira. You know, I'm not dissing any capoeira guys out there. It's a lovely martial art and a lovely dancing style. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be, just because you accidentally kicked out Conor McGregor doesn't mean that it's the best martial art that's ever been made. Just because your site's ranking, and you've bought a bunch of links and you think it's all about the links, you're just discounting all the other stuff you've done. You have checks and all these other boxes that you just don't know about or not thinking about, obviously, or the niche is so small that it doesn't matter. You can rank with links in that niche, because remember, the ranking factors are per niche anyway. Remember, the ranking factors are per niche anyway, in terms of weight and in terms of actual factors apply here, and other factors do not apply elsewhere. There are custom ranking factors that apply in one niche that do not even apply in another niche. So again, to say that links are important to ranking, maybe. At best, they're 10%, I'm saying, based on the testing I'm doing. And that's testing not in the field. That's testing in a single variable environment where all the variables have been reduced. Even the variables of Google's dancing, Google's shuffling, Google's multivariable indexes, all those variables have been reduced. Okay. The next one, an SEO myth that will kill you, is focusing on on-page. You might be like, well, if he's saying links are bad, that's not what I said at all, but if he's saying links are bad, well, then I'll focus on on-page. Well, that would be a mistake too. That's another myth that's going to kill you in 2020. There is no on-page SEO, or it's not anywhere near as important, or as it's not anything like the on-page SEO you think there is. There is no on-page SEO, not like it used to be in even a few months ago. There's no on-page SEO. Focusing on that, running correlation software, doing competitive analyses, all that is not going to help you at all. Even if you look at your own niche, even if you realize that the rankings are different per niche, it's not going to help you. Google is far, far smarter than that. It will blow your mind when you realize that if you join the group, there is no on-page SEO like there used to be. There really isn't. Not really. It's not like it used to be. Again, largely in part because of the anti-SEO algorithm that I just mentioned that they were just released a few months ago, November, and then they tweaked it in December. And then again, because all the ranking algorithms are artificial intelligence based, and they vary per niche and per time period. They can vary a time of day, time of week. It is far more complicated than just put your keywords in a bold tag. That's like saying to cure cancer, you should, I don't know, I can't even think of a comparison. Prey upon a star, like it is orders of magnitude different. It is so different in degree that I think it's different in kind. I don't think it's the on-page of yesteryear is not even close, really, essentially speaking, to the on-page of today. Because the on-page of yesteryear assumed that the bold tag was a ranking factor. And if you put a keyword in it, you would go up. That's just not the way it works. It's like on-page of yesterday was 1 + 1 = 2. On-page of today is like 1 times X equals Y kind of a deal. It's a totally different algorithm. It's a totally different formula. It's totally different. Which then leads me to the next one that you're like, okay, Josh, well, if you're saying links are not the ranking factor, it's not what I said at all. And you're saying on-page is not a ranking factor, that's not what I said at all either. Well, then I'm going to focus on traffic. Well, that would be a mistake too. You can have bad results from focusing on traffic. Google has anti-SEO algorithms built in here as well that we've seen some evidence for that you need to worry about there as well. I've seen plenty of evidence for. You can tank your pages by getting the wrong traffic. So again, you can't laser focus on any of these things. And you need to know how the formula is working at play in your particular area. Maybe this would be a good example. For example, the amount of thrust you would need to escape Earth's atmosphere is different than the amount of thrust you'll need to escape Jupiter's atmosphere. Why is that? It's because the laws of gravity change and blah, blah. No, the law of gravity is the law of gravity. It's just relative to the gravity well that you're in. It's exactly the same in SEO. It's relative to the semantic well that you're in. So the amount of stuff you need to do, and it's actually a little bit more complicated. The stuff, the weights of what you need to do, the variance of what you need to do, but also what you need to do changes too. So it's still not a good example, but it totally changes. And so you could be on Earth and reverse engineer everyone else's rocket and be like, oh, okay, this is going to work everywhere. No, it's not. No, it's not. Maybe not even in your niche. You need to know how the algorithms work, and the only way of knowing that is sadly science, and it takes a long time and took a lot of work. But you can learn it if you are so inclined. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions at the moment. DD says, should I delete pages with little to no traffic yet still have good content? No, you shouldn't delete those pages with little to no traffic that still have good content. But if they had good content, and he says in quotations, then they would be ranking. So there's a problem there. There's a fundamental problem in your statement. Hodsney says, is using Google properties to rank like docs or slides or what is called drive stacks can help us rank? That's like saying, if I take a vitamin C pill 3 months before my marathon, am I going to run better? Maybe it'll help you a little bit. I mean, they seem to, there is a domain authority that does bleed over a little bit, but doesn't mean that you can necessarily rank. You're not even asking about ranking on Google properties. You're asking about using them in the background. Maybe they help a little, but I mean, that's like icing on the cake. If you don't have the cake, if you don't have the scientific basis for the cake, then that's not going to really help you out. Renee says, I submitted a disavow file. Now should I remove it? If so, what happens? It doesn't matter. You can delete it or not. I would delete it just in case, but every time I either submitted a disavow file or then removed it, I got hit in rankings in a single variable test. So you're effed now. Now that you've submitted a disavow file, you're pretty much screwed. So delete it if you want. That might help you. Watch very carefully what happens when you remove it. See if there's any change the day or the 24 hours it is removed. Dan the Man says, there definitely is Onpage. I can testify there is from my own site. No, you can't. Dan, you're not listening to what I said. You cannot make inferences from the field. You can't look at the sky and tell me what the weather's going to be tomorrow. Not with any reasonable assurity. You can't send up smoke screens and tell me that therefore the rain gods are going to make it rain tomorrow. There's too many signals going on. You can't look at a web page's ranking in the field and say Onpage definitely works. I'm saying that there is stuff you need to do on your page for sure, but when someone says Onpage SEO, like they used to mean, like you have to tweak your title tag and you need to put stuff keywords in here and stuff keywords in there, it's so different that I don't even consider it the same thing of how it is working anymore. It's definitely not static, and what you need to do there changes from niche to niche. So whatever semantic well you're in, like a gravity well. And it changes. There's a first sort and a second sort. The on-page you need to do changes based on both of those different kinds of environments. Dan further argues with me later on. He says, I can base my own page ranking improvement on science from what I've done. Nope, that's not science. Again, if you haven't isolated the variables, then you're not doing science. You're not doing scientific testing if you haven't isolated the variables. And as I said, on your own site, that is nowhere near isolated enough. There could be 8 other algorithms that are helping you rank or hurting you that you don't even know about, and you think you've isolated it down to factor A. It looks like this. So I'm glad that you're feeling very positive about your rankings right now, but you think it's factor A that caused ranking Z, but in actuality, there's B, C, D, gamma, and omega these hidden factors that were going on your site at the same time that also helped cause Z. And you haven't isolated them. You haven't removed this, and this to say that it's this. And you haven't removed this to see that it's this. You haven't removed these different variables to see that the rankings that you got were caused actually by A. So you have no idea that's the case. So yeah, when you edit your page, I'm sure that things changed around and maybe even your rankings got better. That is in no way search engine optimization. You didn't do the optimal thing. You don't even know what the optimal thing is because you haven't isolated these variables. 1, 2, and that's in no way science. I mean, I'm glad you're having some success, but don't tell me you're doing science because you haven't removed these variables here. And so you have no assured method of knowing that if doing that again is going to help you. I guarantee to you, 100%, if you continue on this path of assuming you see everything when you don't, that you're going to do the exact same thing or what you thought was the same thing on a page, and its rankings are going to tank. And then the whole site is going to tank because you haven't done the optimal things because you don't know what they are because you haven't isolated the variables in a single variable experiments. A number of single variable experiments that leads you to a grand unified theory. These are hundreds. There needs to be hundreds of these done here to lead you to a grand unified theory to understand all these variables as to what's going on here. There's an order level of magnitude of understanding and of rational depth that you need to include into your process that you haven't even got here. It's the difference between, if you'll forgive the comparison, a caveman banging rocks together and one rock splits versus a scientific team of modern humans doing scientific testing with tools and lab coats and the whole 9 yards. That's the level of difference between what you're saying you've seen and what needs to be done and what we're doing. So I'm glad you're having some success, and I fully believe you when you say that you made some on-page changes, some changes to your page, and the rankings might have gotten better. You have no idea that it was you who did that. It could have been any of these other things here that ranked you at the same time. It could have been this in combination with that. It could have been this alone. You have no way of knowing because you haven't isolated them. This is an epistemological problem. You have no way of knowing. You cannot verify it. It's just a giant question mark is all it is. Was it A? Was it the on-page changes you did that helped your ranking? You have no way of knowing. You have no idea. You're just not even guessing. It's just wild speculation. So that's no way to proceed. And I guarantee to you that these anti-SEO algorithms that Google has made to try and catch people just like yourself are going to catch you. And you're going to do A, variable A, whatever it is, on-page changes. You're going to do that again to another page and it's going to go down. And then you're going to do it again and again and think, why isn't it working this time? I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And then it's going to go down. And this is not even because of changes that Google might have made. This is the way it currently works. They currently have it out there to find you, to hunt for you. And they are going to find you if you keep proceeding on this non-scientific manner. Dan says, how are you selling SEO services then? You can't isolate anything. That's not true. I can. I've isolated a lot. Look at bit.ly/SEO Proof. Don't listen to my words. Don't believe a single word that I've said. Go to bit.ly/SEO Proof. That's bit.ly/SEO Proof. I won't do it on the show because then I get a bunch of complaints of how I'm bragging. But go to bit.ly/SEO Proof and look for yourself. And there's like 300 examples in there of us succeeding. It is statistically impossible that we could have guessed that well all that time. Yeah, but you don't have 300 results, Dan. Dan says, I have proof too for my own results. No, you don't. That's not proof, right? Okay, I don't know how much longer I should be doing this, but this might be useful for everyone else to understand. Dan says, then you also don't know if you can duplicate it. Yes, I can duplicate it. He says he has hundreds of results. Do you mean hundreds of pages on the same site? Dan says, I have hundreds of results. He's been doing this since early 2000s. Good for you. I was doing it since the 90s. Great. Would you like to measure penis size next? Is that what you want to do? That has nothing to do with anything. Dan, that has nothing to do with anything. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Is that your lucky guesses since the 2000s does not science make. It doesn't make science. Now, you said you have hundreds of results. I'm asking you, is that the same page? Or is that the same site? or is that different sites? Because those 300 results, or more than 300 results, you see in bit.ly/SEO proof, that's across the spectrum of local and global and across all different niches. Those are test pages. Those are not test pages, actually. You don't get any of the scientific testing results. Okay, good. Well, maybe you've lucked on to some results, but it's not science. And you can isolate them, Dan. I have isolated them. I've proven it by making those results and repeating. And that's exactly what I've done, is repeat the tests and repeat the tests in the field. You do a test in the single variable environment. And maybe this is useful for people who are just coming to the group and never heard this rant of mine before, but you do a test in a single variable environment. You repeat that test as many times as you think is necessary to get the essence or the ground unified theory of what's going on. And then you move to the field and you repeat the test in the field a number of times. And then you might need to come back here until you've gotten the ground unified theory of ranking. It allows you to look to the field to see if the field contradicts it. No, it doesn't. To see if the field approves it. Yes, it does. So you can isolate variables. If you can't isolate variables, then you can't tell me you've isolated that your on-page changes helped with any rankings. So you just refuted yourself. So you haven't done a philosophy degree either. So you yourself admit you can isolate the variables. If you can't isolate variables, if I can't isolate the variables, then you can't isolate the variables, and you can't tell me any of these particular variables you think caused your ranking pluses actually caused the ranking pluses. So you do admit you can isolate the variables. Okay, let's get on to some other people's questions. DD says, so what is most important now? User activity on your website? Again, DD, you're not listening. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing links or on page or traffic, that there's not stuff that you should be doing there. I'm saying you can't focus on any one of those things. You need to focus on the artificial intelligence rankings and understanding how they work. And then you know how to apply links. You know how to apply on page. You know how to apply traffic. Renee says, do you have ranking factors categorized per niche in your group? Nope. No, I don't have them categorized per niche because that's not the way it works. It's not like Jupiter's gravity is 9.4 and will stay 9.4 forever. Earth's gravity is 4.2 and will stay 4.2 forever. That'll change over time as well. So no, we don't have them broken down for every niche that exists. There's trillions of search queries. There's trillions of niches, and so that's impossible. And it changes. It changes all the time. It changes all the time anyway. Dan says, how are you selling SEO services then? I sell them honestly with integrity because I have a scientific knowledge of what's going on, unlike lots of other people. Rusben Madrigal asks, so user intent is more important than 5,000 word article? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the niche. If it's correct, then why my bank rank a horrible login page on first ranking? Again, because you can't. Okay, so like I said, this is not a valid counter argument to what I said. You can't look at the field results and tell me that quantum physics is wrong. They've done the experiments to prove it. So you can't look at you can't look at your page, and that's like going to the doctor and saying I've smoked since I was 10 and I'm 100. Therefore, cigarettes don't cause cancer. The doctor says yes, they do. We have the test to prove that smoking causes cancer. You were just lucky. You can't take your isolated your test case of one yourself and compare to the millions of other test cases they've done. It just doesn't work that way. You just don't understand how science works, and you really should get out of SEO now. Anyone who doesn't understand what I'm saying or is a little hostile to it, I'm saying this with all love and all charity, and I'm going to turn the camera on so you can see my face, so you can see that I'm being sincere. Really, if you don't understand what I'm talking about right now, how scientific thinking works, and you think that just because it's hot outside right now, therefore cooling is not happening, or it's cold outside right now, therefore the general trend of warming is not happening, or you think that just because a guy smoked a cigarette till he was 100, that somehow in any way causes any kind of disproof or any kind of doubt as to whether or not smoking causes cancer, get out of SEO now. You're not smart enough for it. You can't think the right way. Maybe you didn't go to school. Maybe your school failed you. Probably. Education sucks these days. You do not have what it takes to compete with Google, who thinks in this way very, very well. And this is not a diss. I'm not dissing you in any way. I'm not trying to insult you in any way. I'm saying, if I went to go to the Olympics and Olympic boxing, even though I have 3 black belts and I've been doing it for 30 years, At 44, if I go to the Olympic team here in Victoria and I say, I want to be an Olympic boxer, they'd laugh and kick me out because I'm too old. I'm too old and too fat. I can't do it anymore. That's not a diss to me. It's just the way it is. So if you can't understand this reasoning, or you can understand it, you just don't want to, you don't want to understand it, and you just want to argue, then you're wasting your time in SEO. You're wasting your money. You are going to fail. I 100% know you are going to fail. Well, 99.9% no. You're going to fail, right? I see what the algorithms are. I see what they're hunting for. I see who gets hit on a regular basis. Your time is up. So if you don't like me, fine. I can fully understand why someone who says things as bold as I do, that you would, that might ruffle some feathers the wrong way. Who, me? Ruffle feathers? No, once or twice I may have ruffled some feathers. So you need to get with a science group. Sadly, there are none. There's no other groups that are doing science. Other groups are doing testing. That's not science. And let me tell you why that is. I'll get to that. So, So, yeah, that's the perfect segue for me to do now. So here's the problem, is that other people in the industry have noticed this. I'm not the only one. I wasn't even the first. Other groups have noticed this and have tried to make what they're calling science-based SEO or science-based courses. But the problem is that testing is not science, right? I just kind of went over that for Dan. Testing is not science. If you can do all kinds of single variable testing, right? And there's better or worse single variable testing. I pride myself in doing some of the best single variable testing. Everyone else is kind of down here, and some results in single variable tests are completely questionable and don't really help at all. But even if you're doing your scientific testing up here, if you do not apply it to the field and try to get a grand unified theory of ranking and bring it back to change where your testing goes and what direction you go in and what you're testing, then you are never going to learn anything, right? There's a difference between just running the occasional test based on old concepts that don't update and doing testing that pushes you to new concepts, constantly new concepts that infuriate your students and make them learn new stuff. But I'm like, hey, well, that's what Google's doing. This is what I'm seeing. If you haven't been doing that, if you're still doing PBNs and silos and things like that, well, those are old concepts from like 10 years ago. Scientific testing has to push forward, or it's not scientific testing. So they can say they're doing testing, single variable experiments, all they like. We're testing keyword density. Now we're testing word length. What if keyword density and word length or page length, what if that has nothing to do with rankings? What if that has absolutely nothing to do with rankings? Well, why do we see stuff go up and down when we do it? Because you tested something else that's related to keyword density and to page length, but has nothing to do with keyword density and page length. And so it's like you tested something cancer adjacent. You didn't get a cure for cancer because you failed to understand it. You did not let the single variable experiments guide you into different ways of thinking. You did not come up with a grand unified theory of ranking. And you could see it all the time. They say all the time, I don't know why this is happening this way. I don't know why that's happening that way. Whereas the better our grand unified theory gets of how ranking works, the more we can explain every ranking in every scenario. Now, I'm not saying I'm there where I can explain every ranking in every scenario, but I have a damn sight better percentage chance than all the other groups because of letting the grand unified theory and the field results change my single variable results, my single variable testing, making my single variable testing get better and changing my conceptual understanding to not think of it in the old concepts that everybody else does, like keyword density or like page length. I looked at the factors from a much more basic level. I looked at the parameters of what Google can rank at a much more basic level. Like, what's the base level they can do? It's HTML, it's web technologies, it's server stuff, and I'm testing stuff at the basic level. So it's like they're doing chemistry and poorly at that. They're doing like 18th, 19th century chemistry, where I'm doing quantum physics because I'm looking at the smaller particles, the more basic atoms. And that's what the Greek word atom means, is the smallest divisible thing that can't be divided again. I'm looking at the atoms. And you need your science to look at the atoms, or your science is not science. It's just it's like a slightly better old wives' tales of testing. So again, I'm not saying that to diss anybody. I'm not saying that to put anybody down. I'm trying to provide the knowledge so you can understand the kind of thought paradigm you need to be in, the kind of thought paradigms you need to succeed in SEO. And if you don't have those thought paradigms, you're not going to succeed in SEO. And I get emails weekly of people who are failing, and I can't help them. It's like, I'm join this, do that. I don't have any money. It's like, sorry. Or I say, do you understand how this works or that works? If I tell you this scientific concept, do you understand? They're like, no, and they get all upset. I'm like, okay, well then sorry. Then you just don't have the prerequisites. I'm a fat 44-year-old out of shape man. I can't be an Olympic boxer. I just can't. I just cannot. Sorry, too late. And some other people who refuse to think scientifically, as long as you refuse to think scientifically and you close your mind like that, and you want to think of the old concepts, or you're resistant to new concepts, or you're resistant to scientific knowledge, or the scientific process, or how the scientific process has to work, and you're just not going to go anywhere. And that's just the way it is, and you're wasting your time. You really need to plan ahead financially for your future. I'm telling you, SEO is tough, and you're going to get punted right out. And that would be, I get too many emails like that, so I'm trying to help people, not have that happen to them. But they don't always like to hear it. DM says, if Google is always changing the algorithm, how can scientists predict something as a variable as always changing? So if you're getting results and success in a particular niche today, tomorrow the same. It depends on exactly how it's varying, right? So are there standard principles that you can predict that show you how things are varying? Yes, there are. And you can know that through testing. If your testing comes up with a certain result all the time, then once you've found that atom, you found the ground unified theory, then you know that you've got some results, you've got some knowledge. It's like the concept dark matter. They don't know what's causing that gravitational pull. That's why they call it dark matter. But they know there has to be something causing the gravitational pull. And that's exactly how SEO works. I don't know what the algorithm is called that causes this particular behavior or that particular behavior in Google, but I know how to trigger it, and I know how to manipulate it, and I know how to SEO for it, and I know how to use it. And so I'll call it, semantic this or that, but at the end of the day, it's just like dark matter. The scientists know it's there. They haven't quite figured out everything about it, and I don't pretend to know everything about the SEO algorithms, but I know enough that I can provide bit.ly/SEO proof. I can provide those kind of results across very difficult niches, even your money, your life niches, high level niches that are very, very competitive. DM says again, exact scientific factors may work or may not work depending upon what type of Google algorithm they decide to do. You're right. And they can change the algorithms later on. They can change them, and they have. And that's how I can track the changes over time, is because I was lucky enough after the March update, the Florida update, I was lucky enough to see when they really started doing the AI rankings. And I was doing testing as they were putting them on, and I was able to see them making changes on the fly. And that was, I have to admit, not any brilliance on my part, just hard work and luck that I would happen to be on at that time and notice these things and be testing that exact stuff. And so that's kind of how I made this breakthrough, and why no one else is thinking this way and why no one else understands it, because they didn't really get to see how. I'll see if that comes back. The live stream was offline there for a second. Okay, there we're back. Okay, I hope you can hear me now. Let's see. Okay, I can hear it. Okay, so yeah, I don't know how much you heard of that last thing I said. I was testing the algorithms. I happened to be on in March when the Florida update happened. I was testing the algorithms, and so I was lucky enough to get to see kind of what they were doing, and they layered algorithms on top of it, and then they obfuscated kind of the base algorithm. So I was lucky enough to be able to test it, and it was very regular and repeatable. And then they put algorithms on top of it, and then when I get rid of those ones, I get very regular and repeatable again. So yeah, it's possible. And the only proof that I can offer you, the general public, without giving away the scientific results that are for my paid students who mentor with me, who go to Josh University and mentor with me, which you can join too, is if you want to, go to secretseo.guru and we can start the admission process, and I can see if you're cut out for our group. And I do turn people away and have turned people away. But I was able to, the only way I can prove that to you is go to bit.ly/SEO Proof, and you can see the evidence for yourself that I didn't Photoshop all these results. Obviously, we know something. We got something going on, and I'm claiming that it's science. And you'll see that when you join the group. Okay, let's get back to these questions here. I see there's a lot from Dan the Man. Dan seems to have been offended by what I said. I refer him. I'll refer him to my dog in a second. But so yes, DM they can change DM Zane. They can change the algorithms moving forward. It doesn't mean you can't tell what's going on, but it does make it interesting. That's for sure. Dan says show some free science. Nope, that cost me hundreds and thousands of dollars to make. Hundreds and thousands, not hundreds of thousands. Dollars to make, and it's my knowledge. So if you want to join, by all means, I give away enough for free. If you don't like it, then don't watch the show. Josh, send me some of your business sites. No. Dan says, let's see the experiments, Josh. Show some free ones. No, no, there's no free ones. This is the free course. This is the free information, all the stuff I've been saying. I have saved businesses. I have literally saved businesses. People have emailed me. And said, thank you, Josh. You've literally saved my business, both in helping them doing SEO and telling them to get out of SEO. So no, I'm not going to. That's like emailing Coca-Cola and saying, I don't think your company's any. Oh, that's like emailing Ford and saying, I don't think your cars are any good. Send me a free car so that I can test it. No, I'm not sending you a free car. Dan says I'm wasting my time in SEO. Maybe if all the people in SEO are like you, then yes, I am for sure. Ivy Grace says, hey Josh, I would like to hire you. Can you share a video testimonial? I don't have any video testimonials other than the previous videos that I've done. You can take a look at those. I'm pretty busy, so if I'm pretty busy, so maybe if you want SEO to work that hard to get your business, I'm probably not the SEO for you. I've got a lineup of people, a waiting list of people. Hosni says, I get what you're saying. I'm not sure who's you, but maybe me. I get what you're saying. Can you share with us some free actionable tips to help us rank without revealing your paid methods? Yes, I have. I do every single video, and I have talked about it here so you can understand it, and on all these single ones here, and every video I've done previously. But really, quite frankly, Hosni, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that name. I'm not sure what nationality it is. The days of free SEO are done. Signing up for an old SEO course is another one I want to talk about here, or free SEO courses. You cannot reliably get enough information on SEO for free to be able to rank and do it as a do-it-yourself or dilettante for 4 hours a day. And when I say the word dilettante, I don't mean to be insulting. I mean someone who's not professionally doing scientific testing. There is not enough free information out there that is good enough that you can make it work, and that's just the way it is. It's like the days of going and panning for gold up on the river, of just getting enough gold to make it work when you don't know what you're doing, are long gone. The internet gold mine is long gone. So I'm sorry about that. I know that a lot of people get into SEO because they read terrible blogs from yesterday that says that you can get free information for SEO, and they say that that's enough for you to succeed, and you can just do SEO for like 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day, and just not think scientifically, not pay any money to do it, not pay any money to do any of the extra things around SEO you need to do, and that you're going to succeed. And that's just false. That's just a lie. Maybe it wasn't a lie 5 years ago when they wrote that article you read, but it's just a lie now. And it's sad. It's very sad, because I know a lot of people rely on that as a possible dream, as a business plan, because they want to work from home, because they don't want to do the commute, which I fully understand. This is my office at home. I hate the commute, even though it just got better in Victoria because they just made an overpass. But still, I hate the commute. Maybe they have kids they have to take care of. Childcare is stupidly expensive. I fully understand. Or maybe they need to work from home because of illnesses or sicknesses. I completely get it. My geriatric parents, my mother just passed away recently. They were landlocked at home. I fully understand if they had to luckily they had pensions from jobs for a long time, But if they still had to make money, which a lot of senior folks still do, that and if SEO was one of the things they chose, they would be shit out of luck. They'd be SOL. There's no way they'd be able to understand what you need to do to get SEO to work. And so part of my job is to as delicately as possible explain to you folks, I'm sorry. I know you had this dream that you thought SEO was going to be this thing for you, but if you don't have the prerequisites that I've been talking about, then it's not going to work for you. It's just not. You're not going to be able to do it. It's like you come to my gym and you say, I got to get ready to fight Conor McGregor. Please forgive me, anyone who doesn't like the UFC, or I do martial arts, and so those are the only sports metaphors I have in my brain. But I hope you understand what I'm talking about. But they're coming to me and they're like, I need to fight the champion in this weight class, and I'm like, sorry, you just don't have what it takes. I don't either. I have 3 black belts doing martial arts for 30 years. I couldn't survive in the UFC when I'm 44, and the slight graze on my chin, I'd be unconscious. Some of you would probably like to see that, me getting punched out. Not likely, not going to happen. So I apologize. I refer you to my dog. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. Which is, as you can imagine, one of my favorite. I think this is a fridge magnet. I think. It's my job here to save you money. I'm a business consultant at the end of the day. I'm trying to save people money. I've saved people millions of dollars by either making them rank or telling them to get out when it was time to get out. And if you are disagreeing with what I'm talking about here, or you don't understand it, then I'm sorry, but it's time to get out. And I take no pleasure in months later when you email me and say I was right, saying I told you so. I take absolutely no pleasure in it whatsoever. I would recommend you look at Upwork instead. You can get a lot of jobs on Upwork. Some of our students have gone on there and started making $1,500 US a month within a month. You can make money on Upwork if you have a skill that you can sell. I highly recommend that. I've like friends I've recommended it to. There's a friend of my wife's who's very artistic, and she's like, I don't know how to make money. I don't want to get a job. I'm like, go on Upwork. Can you design a website? She's like, yeah, of course. Photoshop, no problem. I can do that. I'm like, go on Upwork. And she could have done that and made money. She didn't. She went and got a government job instead. There's that too. It depends if you want to stay at home or if you want to drive to the government job. Those are all the pros and cons of life, and that's for you to decide. But I'm here to try and help you make that decision and tell you that I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you SEO is easy. It's not. I'm not going to tell you that SEO can be done without a scientific mind frame. It can't. Not for a long time. Not reliably for a long time, despite Dan's luck that he's been having. He's an anomaly, right? And just because the anomalies exist, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to be for everybody else. Just because Conor McGregor can fight at that level doesn't mean anybody else in the world can. Maybe Dan's that good naturally. Maybe he's just intuitively gifted like Conor McGregor is to do SEO. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he's a genius. And it's just like maybe the SEO muses whisper to him, and he just luckily jams on the keyboard and the right thing happens. That's not going to happen for you. It's not going to happen for anybody else. Statistically, that's just not the way it works. Statistics runs the world. It's the reason why the casinos win. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. So let's get back to the questions here after my diatribe. But I'm here to try to help you. I really am. I know I have a gruff, abrupt manner that turns some people off, but that's just the way it is, par for the course. Darcy says links are not the number one ranking factor. Now I'm laughing. So I'm guessing he's referring back to my previous statement. Okay, you can laugh all you want. I have proof to show otherwise. And it very well could be the number one ranking factor in your niche. I said that the AI rankings are different per niche, although I strongly doubt it, and I highly doubt that it is. Ivy says, I've searched, but I cannot find any actual video reviews of successful students. So, and am I supposed to have video reviews of successful students? What is what is with all the negativity today? You wonder why I sometimes don't want to make these videos. And then Dan piles on and says, Hosni, he has nothing of substance he can publish publicly other than results like all gurus have. Yeah, but Dan, they don't really have the same results I do or the same amount and from the same time frame. So again, I challenge you out there to really look at my results, bit.ly/SEO Proof, and look to see the date and notice that it's been constant for the last few years. of getting good results, and not just like we got results 2 years ago and I haven't published anything since then. Ivy Grace says conversion 101. I'm not sure what that's in relation to. Dan the Man critiques my language and says thought paradigm equals guru term. This is again this is also a sad thing that sadly it seems North America seems to be facing lately, is kind of this fear and mistrust of the expert, of people who actually went to university and use big fancy words like thought paradigm. I didn't think that thought paradigm was such a fancy phrase that it would attract such ire. but yeah, so I mean that's unfortunate, and so that's another reason why you're going to fail very shortly. Oh geez, they go on and on and on. So Furman says, why are you here then? LOL. Dan the Man says, Josh, you are a very general bullshitter. I don't know what that means. That was hidden, but you can see it now because I'm looking at it. To see what people in my field are doing, you fool. Then Furman says, shut the fuck up then and stop with the comments. I think I agree. I think I give that the thumbs up. And then he calls Furman a loser. And he says, go buy 100 BS SEO courses, you nasty word. Hosny says, if there is anything tips to help us understand the AI rankings, sure, an actual question of something useful. But I want to make some comment about what Dan is doing here. So Dan is very common, not only to our age, sadly, of the highly politicized and angry social media kind of group, but there's also another thing that this is going to happen in SEO, guys. Like, realize the harder SEO gets, the more nasty people are going to get, the more stealing of secrets they're going to do, the more vitriol there's going to be, the more anti-branding campaigns, the more negative people are going to come onto my show and say I don't know what I'm talking about. And the more I would feel pressure to say they don't know what they're talking about, because there's less and less students to compete for because people are getting out of SEO. There's less and less money to go for because Google is dominating the SERPs. So Google crushes all of us into a smaller space and forces us smaller train compartment, to use an exactly terribly depressing metaphor for those of you who have read the graphic novel Mouse. And they crush all of us until things get nastier and nastier, and we need to turn on each other because there's not enough students to go around, there's not enough clients to go around, there's not enough rankings to go around, there's not enough SERPs that are easy enough to get to anymore to go around, there's not enough mind space to go around, there's not enough concepts to go around. I saw this happening over a year ago, and that's why I made my private group, because I realized that the days of doing a free SEO course and getting enough clients from that and things being open enough and easy enough to rank were over. And so sadly, you can expect more vitriol like this to happen. I'm going to start ignoring it and just move on to the normal questions, which I believe the last one from Hosny was, if there is anything tips you can us to understand the AI ranks. Yes. So there's some tips I can do. There's some tips I can explain to you. You'll have to go back and look at previous episodes because we're getting late now. I've been doing this for, I think, over an hour now at this point. Yes, over an hour. It's going to be different per niche. There's these buckets that you need to look at. I'll show you the buckets that you need to dump time and money into. They are whitewashed. Of course, my students get the full buckets, but this is the way the game works now, guys. Don't be so pissed off that all this information isn't free. I need to eat. I need to make money. So my particular skill is in science and explaining it. So that's what I do. If you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. But I can't recommend that you do. But to give Hosny just a general sense, these are the buckets that we found through science. I could add maybe one more here that I've kind of added to this bucket for now. And I could add actually another bucket that I just discovered today. So there's 8 to 10 buckets that you need to spend time and money in. I don't recommend you spend a week on each one because that's going to take you 2 months to rank. Some of these I gotta share. Some of these are pretty open, like tech. Anything in Search Console, make sure you fix that. Make sure you're looking at stuff like QDD aspect, QDD layout. If you don't know what that is, it's query deserves diversity, and you need to look at my previous videos for that. I've explained quite a bit of that. Of course, I give full explanations of how to do all this in the course. That's why you would sign up for. But the free stuff I can give is reviews, obviously, for your local, filling out your GMB entirely. So not citations so much anymore. And make sure you have HTTPS set up right. Your canonicals are done right. You don't have any URL parameters problems. I've talked about all this before. Duplicate pages can be an issue, but there's some interesting things you can do with that there. Speed. There are definitely things you need to test for speed. Speed is definitely a ranking factor. There's different factors in speed that are the exact ranking factor and other things that don't matter. You need to definitely be on top of that and be testing the speed. Everybody knows this. Google's announced this. People have known this for years. It's still a ranking factor, but it's not anywhere near as much a ranking factor as people think it is. So, Oni says he's Egyptian. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Cool. I'd love to go to Egypt one day myself to see the Great Pyramids. There is someone else here. DM says, Josh, that's what I like about you. You're basically saying that the science is a roadmap to what's happened so far today. Yes, there are unpredictable things that may happen in the future. Yep, that's right. That's what I was saying. Thank you for the vote of confidence there, DM. Dejan says, I was in Josh's mentorship groups and I learned a lot. Main thing that you learn is how to have real SEO mindset so you have methods to resolve any problem. It's not just testing, it's much more than that. Thank you, Dejan. And yes, he was. Hosni says, thank you. And as I said, I really appreciate your live streams. Keep the great work. You're welcome, Hosni. He says, so sorry for your loss. Thank you very much for that. Dan the man has his final complaint. Let's see if there's any substance to it. The entire live stream is saying, not trying to offend anyone, but you don't know what you're doing. And then trying to sell access to your science. You're right. Dan is absolutely correct there. But then he goes on to say it's bullshit. Well, no, it's not bullshit. It's not what you want. You're used to free SEO and that those days are done. So you're a little upset that free SEO isn't here anymore and that I'm not giving you as much as you'd like. That's what everyone has said, right? That's what I take all those critiques to be, is that, I want more free SEO. Sorry, it's not on offer anymore. It's just not. It's up to me to consent how much free information I give you for free out of my day. And that's as much as I've decided to give. Now you can be upset that that's the case, but it really is kind of disingenuous for you to complain that I want more free SEO. Everything should be free. I don't know where this mentality came in our society. We think everything should be free. Yes, it'd be nice if it was, but it's not. It wasn't free for me to get the knowledge, and therefore it's not free for you to get it either. And my students who I protect and I'm here to serve, who I work for, they're my boss. My students who pay for the course, they wouldn't like it very much if I gave out the free information either. So you've heard now from completely unsolicited. I didn't ask anybody to come on. I could have. I didn't ask. You saw the whole thing I've been doing the whole time. I didn't pick up a phone and text anybody. I didn't go on and chat in the group. Completely unsolicited. You had a student come on and actually give a testimonial, even though I wasn't even going to provide that. So there, you got that as well. Let's see here. What else we got? There's so many questions. Can I get to them all? I'll stay a little longer and get to them here. But so Dan says the entire live stream is saying not trying to offend anyone, but you don't know what you're doing, and then trying to sell access to your science. Yes, you're right. That's absolutely correct. That's what the entire live stream is. Why should it be anything else? That's what I do for a living. This is how I advertise myself. If you don't like it, you naturally don't have to be here. You know, you have a downvote button. I see 7 people have used it. That means I've done a good job today. The more downvotes I have, the more minds I've blown. The more I've ruffled your feathers, the more I've made you think critically about what's going on. The more I've made you think, and maybe even possibly turn some of you to the light side of science, to the good side of SEO. But Dan, you're absolutely correct, and I hold my hands down, my hands up to this. You are absolutely correct, sir. When you say that the entire live stream is saying not trying to offend anyone, I say that quite a bit. And I'm not trying to offend. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I don't have to try. I'm so good at offending people. I'm so good at offending people. I don't have to try. I do it naturally. I have done that all my life, actually. That's why I have 3 black belts, and I've been fighting since I was in my young age, because I offend so many people. They're offended by my freckles and red hair and glasses at first. It says, they say, not trying to offend anyone, but you don't know what you're doing. And you're right. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but you don't know what you're doing, sir, and you're going to fail very soon. And then trying to sell access to your science. Yes, a soft sell. It's a soft sale to my science course. But if that offends you, well, then you know where the door is. In fact, I believe I can block you. I can report you, put user in a timeout. Hide user on this channel. There you go. So there you go. You're now not there as far as other people are concerned, although they can still see it here. That didn't really do much when you're seeing this here, but let's see what else we have. Renee says, are the insights in the membership group suitable for non-English websites? I have a Dutch financial site, Your Money, Your Life site. Yes, it would be perfectly fine for your site, Renee. We have people from all over the world. Definitely, we have a number of Europeans. So definitely it would be all right for your particular area as well. Ivy says, cool, Dejan. Did you find it any higher quality than the other top groups out there, like Jimmy Kelly? Jimmy Kelly's group is absolute crap, by the way, and it costs way, way, way more than mine. I'm just saying. Hosni says, "Hi, Josh. You don't have to apologize." Thank you, Hosni, for the common sense. I appreciate it. Ryan comes on and says, "I'm in the group and it is great. I get awesome ranking results with the methods we use. I used it on my own business website." Thank you, Ryan. Ryan is also one of my students. Dejan says, "Hi, Ivy. Well, I didn't watch Kelly's course, but what I suggest is try Josh's What Can You Lose?" Ivy says, "I have friends that get great results by applying what is taught in all the top groups." That's interesting. Dejan says, "Yes, you can always learn something new." Hosni says, he's talking to me, "You, Josh, have every right to make money from skills and effort." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that someone out there has got some sense. Ivy says, "It's interesting to hear each group's approach as well. We all developed ultimately what works for us. IMHO, the only we know SEO science close is a tough sell." Yeah. And being honest, the only we know SEO science close is a tough sell. Yeah, I get it. I'm not an idiot. I understand sales. I understand that I would probably sell better if I didn't say these things, but it just, I'm trying to help. It just drives me crazy that there's so many bad courses out there, and it's not an apples to apples comparison. But that's the way it is. My group is almost full, and so I do well enough of getting the right kind of student. I really am looking for the kind of student who is done with the other SEO groups and wants the science group. I'm not looking for the kind of student who's just a looky-loo, because they're not going to have the time and energy and probably STEM background to understand what we're talking about anyway, and that would just lead to bad stuff. So I'm quite happy with my sales process, Ivy, but I do appreciate the honest feedback. Ivy then goes on to say, clients be like, "Do you work for Google?" "Oh, you don't?" "Nope, I certainly don't work for Google." Nope. Look into my background. You'll see that no, I do not work for Google. Interesting dark matter theory, but I'll pass it on. Please don't go tell any other group what I'm talking about, because I don't want them to continuously steal my knowledge, like just happened today. So please don't go and talk to any other groups about it. I don't want them stealing what I know. I don't even want them to have a vague idea of what I'm talking about. Zohab says, "Hey, how much of this would you disclose to a client? I want to stand out from the rest, but not give everything away." I would explain this to a client. When I have clients, I fully explain how it works, but I'm fairly terse with clients. I don't spend hours and hours hand-holding clients. And so if that's the kind of client you are, you should probably go with a different SEO. And that, because I don't spend hours and hours explaining stuff to them, because there's really no point, I find in my experience, I'm just like, yeah, give me your pages, tell me what you want, okay, go. And emails are like a single sentence that I find that you don't end up disclosing too much, and they don't really care. If they hire you for services, they don't really care how it works. They just want you to do it. It's the people who join in the mentorship group, they care how it works, and those are the people that I would spend any amount of time trying to explain it to. And already have hundreds and hundreds of hours of videos for you to watch. Hosni says, you're welcome to Egypt anytime. I'd love to go. That's really one of the only places in the world I'd really like to visit. He says, but don't visit the pyramids this year because our government is making a renovation to the entire area, and it will be amazing by the end of 2020 or early 2021. Oh, okay. Interesting to know. Thanks for that. Jules Kid says, I'm noticing my site shows up on the index for my friend in another state, but doesn't show up in my state for my money keyword. How do I get out of the multi-car index, the multi-variable index? Yeah. That's something that we've noticed as well. There's a specific reason for that I can explain when you get into the group. That's one of the factors of the multivariable index, and I think it's even possibly another one of their anti-SEO algorithms, so that's harder for you to view the SEO to check. But yeah, and there's another reason why they block it, because then it'll affect a different algorithm if they showed it. So that does happen. I can confirm that. So you're not crazy. That we have confirmed that for sure. Paul Renee says he emailed me yesterday. Okay, sorry if I haven't answered it yet. A little slow. Paul says, hey Josh, if we sign up, how is it on the inside? Are there videos explaining some of the tests and how to implement them? Of course, yeah. There's videos explaining everything. And there's pin posts. There's videos. There's orientation videos. There's kind of a curriculum, a very rough curriculum of showing you, okay, what you should watch first and what you should do first. DM says, not to mention he's been on for over a year and each show runs about an hour, so the man's put 365 hours into his business. Sure, he should make some money. Thanks, DM. I appreciate that. I debated about making a Patreon kind of thing where there's, for cheap, like only for like $40 a month or $20 a month, I would give a little bit more information, but then that would just conflict with my students who are paying the full mentorship price. So I'm going to keep doing free shows and do what I can. I'll tell you what not to do for sure. And I'll tell you what's negative SEO for sure. Renee says, can you sort the SEO proof screenshots on a date? I can't do it from this side. Thanks. I don't know. It's Dropbox. I can sort it here because I'm through my windows in Dropbox. From here, I can do it. But I don't know in the Dropbox. I don't know in the Dropbox app how you do it. But look at this. So we got 2019. Here's December's wins. Here's November's wins. Here's October's wins. Here's September's wins. And it goes and goes and goes and goes. We had a lot of people those days. Here's August's wins. A lot in August, then July, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it goes on and 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 on. I'm still scrolling down. Here's still yet more wins of us killing it. And there's 345 items altogether. So from here down to here, down to the end, is 345 items. I think you're seeing this. Yeah, you are. 345 /items. So of our wins in Dropbox, and that's where bit.ly, that's where bit.ly/SEO Proof. That's where that goes. Oops. Oops, I put a comma instead of a period. There we go. So I don't know how from this end to do it because I'm not a Dropbox guru. Maybe click order ascending in Dropbox. Is that how you do it? No, order descending is what you'd want, I think. There you go. Yeah. So that's from latest. These are some of the latest ones. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So you can just go through them like this if you want. And there's other testimonials and stuff in here. So anyway, so I promised I wouldn't bore everybody by going through that. Oh no, there's more questions. I was almost done. Jules says, do social signals actually help SEO? Logically, it makes sense. Yes, they do. Yes, they do in very specific ways. So definitely get in the group and I can help you with that. And last thing, Hosni says, that would be great, Josh, to tell us what to avoid and what not to do. Yeah, so watch the free shows then, Hosni. I'm definitely going to be telling you what not to do and what to do. And so anyway, so that has been the SEO Science Show with me, Josh Bachynski. It's been a feisty SEO Science Show, but I hope it was entertaining and educational. And I sincerely wish you all the best in 2020 and good luck in the SERPs. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.